Oh my God.
Hi.
Hey, good morning, Kira. I'm sorry, I was on mute before. Okay, so now we are recording. My bad for not starting it earlier. All right, and again, we are working from the entry event note taker right here in Summit, which you can find under checkpoint 1 right here, reading notes, and then scroll down, and you'll see right here, okay? So what can we put here for 3A? Anybody who can help us out with this and give us your own definition of a family tree? We've already talked about them a lot. We looked at some examples last class if you were here. But how can we define a family tree? If somebody asks you, what is a family tree? What would you tell them? What can I fill in here as my family tree definition? Anyone who can help us out with this, you can answer either in the chat or come off mute. But I'll give you a little bit of a sentence starter. Family tree is what? How can we finish that? How can we finish that out and make our own, come up with our own definition here for a family tree? How would you define a family tree? We have all suddenly gone silent now when we have to answer a question. Oh no.
Can you say the question again?
Sure, we are just trying to define in our own words what is a family tree. So if somebody asked you, what is a family tree? They didn't know what it was. How would you define that for them? And I already have kind of a sentence starter here for us. A family tree is what? How could we finish that?
You want us to type this or you want us to say it out loud? That's what
You can either way, like you can answer in the chat, or if you have an answer, you can come
I
off
think
mute.
a family tree is a diagram of generations of
Okay, cool.
from beginning to start.
From beginning to end, I like that.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. That's all right. And that's kind of what Emmanuel said in the chat too. Emmanuel Slater, type in the chat. Excellent work. Participating and engaging. I love it. A diagram of the shape of a tree showing a family relation or genealogy. Excellent. So I think we'll kind of combine those. Let's say family tree is a diagram in the shape of a tree showing a family's relationship slash genealogy, if I can remember how to spell that, which I did not. from start to finish. All right, really good job. Now I'm going to highlight that in yellow so you guys can all see it. And if you don't have that defined on your note taker, please get that definition on there now. Okay. It's a really good job. Thank you, guys. And yeah, those of you who are kind of joining us for the first time today, because that was a legit question, Tara. Don't be afraid to, anytime I ask a question like that, either type it in the chat or you can answer on mute too, if that's easier. Right. So now that we've defined our family tree, and if you remember last class, and I'm going to go back to that if you still need it, no worries. If you remember last class, we looked at some examples, like we had this one where we have all the different lines showing the relationships. We had this one, this genogram that shows you like the physiological and psychological patterns. This one that has the different titles, kind of a real life example. All right. This is the one that's in our story. Okay. So now we're going to try and create our own family and community tree. I say community tree because you may choose to have your family tree include friends and community members who you are close with as well. If we don't know some branches of our family tree, or we don't care to include some branches of our family tree, we want to include friends or mentors instead, that is totally fine. So we're going to make our own tree using our own shape, symbols, and color coding, so a reader can clearly understand the relationship. So we would have kind of an example key like this. Okay, if there's a circle, it means they're close to. If it's a red line, it means they're married. Things like that. Okay, very similar to kind of the ones we see here and here. All right. So how are we going to do this? The first step is, first start with brainstorming a list of all the people in your family and or inner circle who gets included, right? So if you see on your note taker, that's what number 4A is. So brainstorm a list of people for your tree. So that's going to be our first step today. And then we're going to create our key and then create the actual tree. And that's what I want to see from you at the beginning of next class. So for example, if I were trying to make my tree, I would start by brainstorming, who am I going to include? So I know I start with, okay, my mom and dad. All right. And then I include all my sisters, right? So then I have Niggy and her husband Derek, and then I can include their kids, or their son Nate. Then I include my other sister Mia and her husband, and then I put their kids here. All right. I include my other sister Cindy and her husband. I include their kids. All right. And I, as you can see here, it says go back and jot down a quick note on how they are related or connected to you. So, I'm trying to come up with my own way to remember, like, okay, I know their kids are in parentheses. Maybe I want to make a little note here too that says, like, I could even do this and label it, okay, sisters and their families. And then I could list it that way. Okay. And then I come down here. Maybe the next one I do is aunts and uncles. All right. And then I have and Christine and Kevin. And then I have their two kids, Kevin and Jake. Right. And then maybe right here, I put a little asterisk that says mom's sister. Okay. So I can kind of make some notes on, who am I including and who is related to whom and how do they kind of relate back to me. All right. And then once I do that, I can generate my key here. So however I want to come up with this, like, okay, maybe squares mean mom's side, circles mean dad's side, and then blue lines equal siblings, right, etc., etc. Like however you want to generate your key, like the ones we saw, here, right? So thinking kind of like along these lines. It's like red line equals marriage, purple line equals siblings, yellow boxes equal mom's side, blue equal dad's side, things like that, right? And then the last step, once I've done those two, is to create the actual tree. So you can do that right here on your note taker. You can do it on another separate Google Doc and share that with me. You can do it by hand and take a picture of that and share the picture with me. However you want to do it is up to you. I will say the more in-depth, the more creative you get with this, the better the opportunity for some kind of bonus extra credit points, all right? So if you want an easy way to kind of pad your grade a little bit, give yourself a little bit of a cushion at the beginning of the term, this is a good way to do it. All right. So, and hey, Deja, welcome. All right. So, ladies and gents, that's what we're going to be working on for kind of the rest of today and what you have to work on for this week. All right. Finding that on your entry event note taker. Okay. So, I'm going to pause there real quick. Are there any questions on anything that we're doing? All right. And Emmanuel, hopefully you heard me just answer your question in the chat, which is that I should see this by beginning of class on Friday, because that class we're going to be starting to dig into the actual book. So yeah, the rest of today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Okay. So ladies and gents, what I'd like you to do right now is, if you understand everything you need to do with that family tree assignment, give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat right now, so that I know everybody's is good to go with that. Okay. Shirley, I got yours. Thank you. I want to see one of those from as many people as I can. All right. So that I know everybody is good. Eli, thank you. All right. So if you have given me a thumbs up or a yes, then you can go ahead and get started on coming up with your list, starting to brainstorm for your tree. All right. I only have 2 responses in the chat so far. So again, if you understand what you need to do with that, give me a thumbs up in the chat, okay? Or tell me, yes, I got it, so that I know you don't have any questions, all right? If I don't hear from you in the chat, I'm gonna assume that you're good to go, all right? So if you do have a question or you're stumped on something, now is the time to ask. Jairi, I got yours, thank you, all right? Shirley, you can, if you want to just do it on paper and then just take a picture and send me that picture, you can do it that way too. All right. Like you can take a picture and then just email me that picture. All right.
Through your regular email or Google Hangouts?
Either one will work. The easiest way will probably be just my regular Yes Philly email.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, and that goes not just for Shirley, but everybody. If you want to, if you think this is something that will be easier for you to do by hand, then feel free to do it that way. Like you do it on another paper and send me that picture. And again, don't forget, the more kind of in-depth, the more creative you get, the more likely you are to be awarded a few bonus points here for extra credit, all right? So if you haven't given me your thumbs up in the chat to let me know you understand this assignment, please do so now. If you are stumped on anything or you have questions, this is the opportunity to ask away, all right? I am going to let you guys get started on this, and then I will check back in about 15 minutes or so, okay? And then we will kind of wrap up from there, all right? If you have a question during that time, just put it in the chat or give me a shout and let me know. All right, thank you guys. If there's anybody who would like to go to a breakout room, either to fix a summit issue that they're having, if they're having trouble finding something, or just for a little bit more detail on this, if you're a little bit lost, you can message me privately in the chat, let me know, and I'll set up a breakout room. If not, then keep doing what you're doing. You're good to go. All right, Eli, I just got your chat. No worries. So let's do a quick little breakout room. All right. Is there anybody else that is having summit issues besides Shirley? I know we already talked about that. I think that might just be a summit glitch on your end. So just make sure you let Miss Christina know about that. All right. Anybody else who's having summit issues or anything else that would like to join this breakout room?
Can you send me her email so I can send it to
Yes,
her?
I can. I'll put that in the chat for you right now. All right, Eli, so you should get a thing that pops up on your screen that's asking you to join. So just hit join when it pops up, and we'll jump in that breakout room and try to sort that out real quick. All right, the rest of you keep working on that family tree, John, and I'll check back in a few. All right, thank you, guys. All right, ladies and gents, hello again. Welcome. I see we have some other people that have joined us, like Meadow. Good morning. All right, y'all. If you joined while I was in the breakout room, what we are working on is, let me share my screen. What we are working on is this entry event note taker. You can find it on Summit. It is under checkpoint 1. If you scroll down, it's about the second one down there. And what we're doing here is filling out the bottom part. So the one that's highlighted yellow, that's the one you can fill out on, you can copy onto yours if you don't already. And then this one is just my example of how to go about starting our own family tree, which is what everybody should be working on now and what's going to be due at the beginning of class on Friday. Okay. So ladies and gents, know that this is going to be part of checkpoint 1. So when we start, the work for checkpoint 1 Friday, to have checkpoint 1 all the way green, you're going to need to have this note taker and the family tree completed as well. Okay. So just a heads up for that. But those of you who joined late, that is what we're doing right now. Okay. So we have about 5 minutes left. So to kind of wrap up here, I just want you to give me a quick kind of 1 to 5 in the chat of how you feel with this family tree assignment. 5 being, I totally got it, no worries, I'm going to get it done. 1 being like, I'm still super lost, or I have to get caught up, so I need some help. All right, so I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Okay. See a lot of those coming into the chat now. Thank you so much. Tahir, Shirley, Eli, awesome. So if I don't see your number in the chat yet, please put that in there now. Once I get your 1 to 5, you are good to go for today. Thank you very much. Make sure, again, I have this by beginning of class on Friday. Okay. And again, just a reminder, progress reports coming out this week for the first few weeks of this term. All right, Jairi, I got yours. Thank you. All right, everybody else, make sure you get your 1 to 5 in the chat before you leave. If you put yours in there already, then you are good to go for today. If you have questions or you're stumped or you want to get caught up, you can see me in the Summit Lab between 1 and 3. It is the same link for this class. All right, so the same link you use to get on here, it's the same. That's the same link you use for the Summit Lab. Okay. So if you haven't given me your 1 to 5 yet, please do that now. Kira, Alicia, Ike, Amir, Emmanuel, haven't heard from you yet. So make sure you put that up in the chat. Meadow, I know you just joined, so if you're a little bit lost.
I understand what's going on and all that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask, but I'm in a DMV, so I can't really, But right. Yeah, I understand.
No worries, Alicia. All right, cool. Thank you.
See you.
So Jairi, those recordings are going to be on the Yes Philly YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube and just search Yes Philly High School, the channel should pop up, like the YouTube channel, and you can find them all on there. All right. So the ones from today will be up a little bit later. I usually have them on there around like 2 or 3 every day. Okay. And Kira, I got yours in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, that's where the recordings will always be. All right, also, I want to stay in the chat for about another 2 minutes. If you have no questions, you understand everything you're doing, you are good to go. If you do have any questions or anything like that for me, feel free to ask away. But if not, like I said, I'm going to stay in here for about like 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and end the chat for today. And I will see you all again on Friday. All right. Really good job today. Thank